Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Lean Coffee. Actually, the best Lean Coffee show, at least where we talk about agile and lean topics on the internet. So welcome back. My name is Jimmy.
Anders.
Leila.
Jagge.
And nice to see you all again. And as usual, we have all brought our different topics on anything agile and lean related. And new for today is that we're going to cover a topic voted on by the Patreons for this channel. And as usual, I'm going to wind up the timer for 4 minutes. When it rings, you're going to see us do this and decide whether or not to add 90 seconds or to move on to the next topic. So, yeah, let's dive right in. Do you feel ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, the wheel is spinning and the first one out is Leila.
Okay, so my topic for today is about meeting-free days. So this has been a phenomenon for a while that a company chooses to have certain days in the week where it is meeting-free. So you can't book anybody for meetings and you're supposed to focus on your own work and get into a flow state. I have seen this kind of trending and booming now during the pandemic, probably because people are sitting like this in screens all days. And I've started to think about this phenomena. What about these environments, like agile environments that are very team heavy? You have a lot of interactions. Can it actually be hurtful with meeting-free days in an agile environment?
Winding up the timer. Is that a yay or nay, right? Yeah.
The yay or nay, show me your signs.
Oh. What do you say? Oh, okay, question mark. Okay, question mark. No, you stated. Jagge, I guess.
Yeah.
Is it hurtful? Why?
It could be hurtful. I'm gonna phrase it like this. Meeting 3 days, sure, why not? You can have it. I think if you have a need for having a meeting 3 days, you probably have set up the organization wrong somehow, because meeting per se shouldn't be something bad, but it could be unstructured decision making, too many people running around, heavy control, those kind of things. Demands a lot of synchronization all the time, and people get overburdened by that, and then you go back and say, okay, you're gonna structure it, this is the meeting days or not meeting days. So you're trying to solve a problem but not really the root cause, and that goes back to, if you do it right, you shouldn't have this problem from the beginning. So
I agree and disagree. I believe it is relaxing, and there's a confidence and the safety of knowing that at least on Tuesdays and Thursdays afternoons, I know I'm going to make progress and I'm not going to have to multitask and be stressed out of meetings. And so I can endure back-to-back meetings maybe for half a day, because I know that I have that time slot and I know it's going to remain there. No one is allowed to steal it from me.
I really agree. I used to think that it was more hurtful that meetings are also work, so why fuss about whether we do it or not. But I think I've listened to a few podcasts on flow, both like individual flow and group flow, and that made me realize the importance of really like protecting focus time and ensuring that you have the right problems and the right setup to actually get into flow in these times, and it doesn't happen automatically.
But where do you draw the line? Let's say you and me, Anders, we happen to have focus time on the same time, so we decide to collaborate. So we book a meeting for that collaboration, and then we took it one step further. We are mob programming as a team. We don't even have to have the discussion of meeting free Wednesdays, because we are seeing each other all the time.
Leila, I think that's part of it. Like in a team heavy culture, the interactions within the team rarely should be seen as meetings. I think it's more to protect the team, actually, if anything, to give them focus time to collaborate.
Leila.
So from a neuroscience perspective, which I'm very fond of, the brain really enjoys being in a state of flow and also working uninterrupted creates more efficiency in your productivity. So from that perspective, I also myself enjoy to be meeting free and to work undisturbed for a period of time. And I'm thinking that even if you're in that state of nice co-creation that is not official meetings with your teams, that is still some kind of disturbance to some extent anyhow, because you are, maybe, even if it's not physical language, it's body language, you are communicating in some way and how. If you are like mob programming, you are seeing some progress that somebody else is doing, etc., etc. So from one perspective, I really understand and enjoy the concept. From another perspective, I'm more into what Jagge is saying, that you might have some kind of systematical error in your ground default as an organization. If you need to decide that we need to have these days to be meeting free, and what also, let's switch and turn that question. What does that actually mean for all the other days?
Yeah. But I would be super stressed.
Your availability for those other days, that you should be able.
Okay, go.
Yeah, exactly. Stress.
I think often starting with the meeting-free days can be a way to start breaking the habit, and it makes you question of why do we have so many other meetings? See how nice it is when we have this meeting-free day, and how much we get done, and how much we actually collaborate anyway.
But on this, I have no problem to not work. Like being a meeting, I can say no because it's my responsibility. I understand that not everyone have that comfortable situation or trust in doing that, but I want to create that, because meeting 3 days, I want to, when I get the flow, I'm gonna book off things. If it's on a Monday or Tuesday or Friday or Saturday, I will be super stressed out of that. And I agree, sometimes you need to create that for someone else, but I would be super stressed that someone's saying now is your meeting free day.
You don't have to choose, right? It's not, you said you should look at the root cause. Yes, and while we understand that, let's have meeting free Wednesdays or whatnot, because maybe it's possible also shuffle meetings around, because we have all different kinds of meetings in our team. Maybe if I move this one here and you move that one there, oh, brilliant, then we don't mess with each other's kind of focus time. So it could be something like that as well, just shuffling meetings around.
I work a lot with different managers and just making sure that we have our one-on-ones on roughly the same time so that we don't destroy the whole calendar is amazing.
Okay, one more then.
So also what I'm thinking about is that if you want to create, as you said, Anders, breaking the habit, there are also a lot of other things that you can do, like question meetings without an agenda, make meeting time shorter, do some bureaucracy busting on why you are doing all of these things, yada, 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 yada. So there are also other ways of handling the root cause if we are thinking that the problem is that we have too many meetings in our organization.
But that kind of assumes that the meetings that we have are worthless, or that they don't have a value. If you're saying I can just skip them in order to get into flow, and we can just not go if they don't have an agenda, even if they're really valuable, it's still valuable to create the focus time to be able to get into flow.
Yeah, and
even if all the meetings
working as an HR manager also for many, many years, I've considered it as a part of my job to actually be available for meetings to a very high extent. Do you have 5 seconds? That type of meetings, as well as the booked ones. So it is a hard puzzle to solve.
Yeah.
Oh, silence, and we're kind of out of time. So we've already extended this topic twice. So I'm gonna close it.
Try it out.
Yeah, let's see.
Go try it out. Go for root cause.
It's spinning. Let's see who takes on the next topic, and it's me. Yay!
Woo-hoo!
My topic goes like this. There's a lot of agile coaches out there, change transformation agents, that claim to be able to help companies transform into agile. And one of their tools in their toolbox is different versions of Agile Maturity models. And that is supposed to say something. But so my question to you, yay or nay, is it even possible to measure and evaluate Agile maturity of people and organizations? Yay or nay? Or maybe both. And thumbs up. Okay. Anders, would you like to start?
Sure. I definitely think it's possible to at least reason around how agile or far along an agile transformation at companies. It's not going to be an exact science, and of course you can try to make it into a 2.5 on the 5-star scale rating, but it's never going to be an exact science. But you definitely can talk about, like, yeah, we're super early, we have a traditional management team, we are slow moving, we have a documented waterfall process, or we have like continuous delivery teams that are DevOps and they're all completely autonomous and they just go and build things and ship every day. You will be able to tell me which of these are more agile.
But I guess then you can do a checkbox of things. Are you doing agile? Are you having scrums? Are you having teams? Are you having product owners and so forth? But are you being agile? Do you have agile maturity?
Flip it around. If Leila often talks about business agility, right? And it's a capability you want as a company. Does your company have the capability to change priorities in a week? Yes or no? The traditional company with a waterfall process won't.
No.
No. On the other hand, those cases are a bit. I would like to raise a warning flag for those cases also, because I often hear from people, yes, we are agile, we change our minds so quickly. And for me, that is a little bit simplified picture of reality. So I guess I agree with you, Anders, that you can definitely see like the rough picture, like the rough painting of how agile we are. But can you really measure being agile? For me, it's kind of like personality psychology, which wants to measure your personality. And I think that is a really hard thing to do. And do you know why? Because it's context dependent. So the real consultant answer to this question is, it depends.
Yeah, that's why I was waiting for voting, because you can say both, as you said. And then is it? I think it's valuable to do some measurement. I think it's dangerous to do it because you can do wrong. I think it's dangerous not to do it. And measurement is just you decide, and one company have one measurement, another company a different measurement. Both are right. And honestly, I think it's almost like the Schrödinger's cat example. You are both agile and not agile all the time. As soon as you look into it, you are whatever you are right when you look at it, and then you go back and you're both. So I don't know.
No, I'm not sure I agree. All models are simplifications, great simplifications, especially if you try to take a complex organization and boil it down to a number. It might still be a useful model, though.
But I've been in a situation where a company made an agile transformation. I was a developer back then. And this was more like a vanity metrics for the leadership to prove that they were doing agile. So we as a team were invited to grade ourselves. But the manager stopped us. No. Don't put a grade that high. We need to improve it a little bit next week. So what? No, we are doing these things. But no, but keep it down. I need to look good next week. So, yeah, exactly.
Okay, and of course, numbers can always.
And we all know that company wasn't very agile.
So, but I guess in the beginning of a transformation, I think the checkboxes are good. Do we have things in place? Are we doing these habits? Fine, but as long as you got those in place, so we kind of replace the old processes and habits or structures with new ones. The mindsets, behaviors, that's harder and harder to.
Yeah, and
time rings.
A brief one.
All right, so one more.
Yes. So usually I talk with companies also when they are in a state of I think we are doing agile stuff, but we're not being agile. So then it comes to exactly what you're talking about, Jimmy, the mindset question. And I think the risk or the bad thing about measuring is that you may start to focus so much more on what you're doing rather than what you are actually being. You know the quote, what is measured gets done. Well, measuring an agile mindset is really hard. Measuring agile things that you're doing is pretty easy. So there could be also a trap of us going in the totally wrong direction by doing this. And of course, if you can use the model and everybody is on board with what that means, fine. But there are risks involved.
But I actually think it's slippery slope and dangerous to start measuring mindset and behaviors, because that is you know,
that's great.
Use it so many ways.
Process.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's so hard to measure. Like, are we doing Scrum? You know, whatever. That's easy to measure. So I think if you start measuring mindset, like this is how you're good, whatever, then it's dangerous. I think as a company.
Isn't that what we do every salary review?
We talked about that. Stop doing that.
That's true. You're being consistent. That's right.
Oh, here it is again. So I smell like we're ready to move on, right?
I'm done for now.
Okay, cool. So let's see what the third and final topic for this episode is. It's spinning, and let's see what we got here. Yes, it will be a Patreon topic. All right, so the first Patreon topic we're going to cover is related to agile transformations. So one question I heard and picked up, and that was voted for, was if we're considering doing an agile transformation, how much will it cost us? What do you make of the question? How much do an agile transformation cost?
I want to say, I mean, Leila would say it depends, but I'm going to say 0. If you're really honest about wanting to become agile, you can do it yourselves, and you're already paying the salaries you do. It's not a cost to the company. If anything, it's an investment, because you're going to be more effective and get more returns on whatever you're doing.
Yeah, I guess if you have monopoly and you don't have any competition or anything, and you will survive and then make money no matter what, well, then don't bother, because it's going to take energy and motivation and whatnot. But if you have the slightest competition regarding business, product, employees, you should get onto the train, because what it can cost you is kind of death as a company. People will leave.
I would like to put like a time axis towards that question. Can't hold great, but so because I agree with you, Anders. I would see it as an investment, and that could probably mean that the cost of this investment might be higher in the beginning. It could be a cost in the shape of people leaving the company who didn't sign up on that journey. That could be pretty hurtful in many ways, maybe because you have strong efficiency in those relationships that they have already that might be lost, and you need to rebuild new relationships with new people who has a new mindset. You also need to invest a lot of hours and time in establishing, talking, connecting, understanding what you are going to do. And I also think one thing that I've like very specific is that when I work, for an example, with HR teams who wants to go out agile, they usually go then more from working individually to working more as a team. And that is also in the beginning a higher investment, because people are more used to just doing things their way and getting things done very quick and fast. It not necessarily very cost efficient in the end, but the immediate reward, which our brain loves, is very high from that perspective. So they might consider it as a high investment cost in the beginning of time that they need to put into spending time with each other, working on things together, understanding what kind of work they have, creating transparency, etc., etc. So, but I do agree with Anders. In the end, I think you'll have that cost back. And as you said, Jimmy, having an anti-Nokia strategy, not dying very quick because eventually it became a smartphone, just killing your business like that, is always a good thing.
Jagge, chip in. What are you thinking?
You can start measuring your agile maturity. No, but probably that's good to do also. But what I was thinking, how can you frame it? No, I think it's about the expectation. So what you should do is you should talk about what you need to invest in time and money all over with the stakeholders and the organization, and regularly. And that's what you're doing. And then you have better expectation where you are, where you're going, if it's worth it or not, and not put like numbers into it. Maybe you need to do it, but talk about it.
But I have two cases. That one is many years ago when I learned about Agile, I worked at Siemens Medical Solutions in Gothenburg, and they had just done a kind of disruptive big bang transformation. Short term, 10% of the employees resigned or had to leave. So short campaign. But within 1.5 to 2 years, they have overachieved all their ambitions and targets. And I heard the same story about ING in the Netherlands. That kind of... Damn it. Okay, one more. That did an agile transformation into the Spotify model. So they actually bluntly copied that one. That's another conversation. Is that a good or bad thing to just copy a framework? But they achieved all targets, business, speed, and whatnot. But actually, to their surprise, cost targets were achieved as well. They buckled up and they protected money and they're safe to be able to pay for the price. But no.
I think it's just an odd question to me in that if you want to start an agile transformation, you've already decided that it's probably going to be better for you as a company. So it's almost the same as asking the question of like, what does it cost us to improve?
Yeah, if you're asking that question, you're kind of revealing that you're not really believing in it.
Mm-hmm.
A bit.
You're not ready then.
But maybe there are like emotional costs connected to this as well.
It costs you
like status, like my perceived power, like information being like
no titles. Everyone is in the team, and
that is a hard thing, and that's probably why 10% left from that company, and why people also leave, because they are motivated by having those incentives and. So, but I'm thinking there might be other costs as well. Like maybe you are a bit slower in the beginning of going agile.
I think it very much depends how you approach this change. Like how do you do the ING route of just a big bang change and like a very disruptive change.
Finish the sentence.
Then it's gonna be more costly than if it's more gradual. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Did we exploit this one, or do you want to? I'm reading hesitation here. All right. So,
I can continue if you want to.
I know you can. But I'm going to close it. So that was the third topic of this episode. So yeah, let's check out and zoom out. Thank you for watching to the end of this episode, and especially huge thanks to all the Patreons supporting this channel. Let's hear a few final words of wisdoms extracted from these conversations we just had.
Meeting 3 days is just a symptom, so you're better off fixing the root cause instead.
If you're desperate to know the number, how much it costs to initiate an agile transformation, maybe you should do some more thinking. I'm thinking maybe you're not ready if you want to have a number on it.
So if you are thinking about measuring your agile maturity, be careful so you don't start measuring doing agile instead of being agile.
I think the discussion around what it costs to do transformation or being agile is super important. Don't get stuck on it, but keep talking about it and discuss it all the time.
All right. Thank you for this episode, and see you all back here 4 weeks from now. Bye.